Perhaps one of the most common applications of futures contracts is in hedging. We've gone through a number of examples, mainly agricultural examples, where I argued that the use of the futures markets actually reduced the risk of the farmer's position and of the cereal producer's position in terms of price fluctuations. Of course, there's many other applications of the futures markets in terms of hedging. Let me sketch just two applications, and in the lecture notes there's many additional examples. The first application has to do with a stock portfolio. Suppose that it's the case that we have a portfolio, a well-diversified portfolio of stocks that looks very much like the Standard & Poor's 500 stock price index, in that it has a similar risk to the S&P 500. And suppose that I think that over the short term there's going to be a market correction. So I believe that the value of my portfolio will decrease. Well, one possibility is that I could sell all the stocks in my portfolio and transfer my money into short-term deposits or treasury bonds or something like that. However, this is fairly costly to do. Indeed, I would have to bear all the transactions costs of liquidating that portfolio, and if I ever wanted to get back into the market, I would have to bear the transactions of getting back in. So, there's a possibility of hedging with futures. Suppose that the value of the portfolio I had was, say, $1 million. Well, instead of selling $1 million worth of stock, I could go into the futures market and sell $1 million worth of the S&P 500. Now, I would sell in the futures market to match the horizon whereby I think the market would go down. And suppose that I believe over the next 3 months there's going to be a correction in the market. So I would sell with the contract horizon of 3 months. Now, what happens if the market actually does go down? So this is the so-called bad scenario for me, the scenario that I'm at risk before I did my hedging. If I'm completely unhedged and say the market goes down by 10%, then the value of my portfolio drops from $1 million to $900,000, and I lose $100,000. Now, when I add on my futures hedge, on the futures side, the value of the portfolio drops from $1 million to $900,000. Now, in the futures, I've agreed to sell. If I sell, that means if the price goes down, I benefit. So in this case, with the market dropping from $1 million to $900,000, exactly $100,000 will be transferred into my account. This is very similar to the agricultural example that I gave you, where the farmer was worried about the price of corn going down. In this case, I'm a portfolio manager worried about the value of my portfolio going down. In both instances, I take a short position in the futures market. When the price goes down, the contract is rewritten to sell at $900,000, and the money is transferred into my account. So this is a situation where suppose the market goes down by 10%, even though the value of my portfolio drops by 10% or $100,000, I'm protected because the futures will pay me off $100,000. Now, of course, this could go the other way. And the other way being that suppose I'm incorrect and the market actually goes up by, say, 20%. In this case, the futures contract would have to be rewritten at $1.2 million. I would have to transfer $200,000 out of my account into somebody else's account, the long side. Now it appears like I've lost $200,000, but don't forget that the value of my actual portfolio has increased from $1 million to $1,200,000. So in fact, it's a wash. what's happened here is I protected the value of my portfolio at $1 million, whether the market goes up or the market goes down. And this is one popular use of futures markets. Now the other use we went actually through in another clip, and that had to do with bond hedging. Or suppose that I've got a portfolio of bonds, and those bonds have particular characteristics. I went through 2 examples, and perhaps now it's easier to understand those examples. The first example I went through was, suppose I had $1 million worth of 20-year 8% coupon bonds, and the interest rate was 8%. And suppose I thought that in the short term interest rates would increase, which would mean the price of my bonds would decrease. Well, I could go into the Treasury bond futures market and initiate a short position. And in this case, I would do a short position for exactly $1 million worth of Treasury bonds. A Treasury bond contract is in sizes of $100,000, so I would short 10 contracts on the Chicago Board of Trade. Now, in doing this, if the bad scenario is realized, if interest rates actually increase, and as a result of that, the price of the bonds decrease, I would benefit in my short position. Now, the modified duration of the bonds that I hold in my portfolio is approximately 9. And the modified duration of the bonds in the futures market are approximately 9. So here I'm doing a 1-to-1 hedge where the modified durations are exactly the same. In this case, if interest rates increase by 1%, then the value of my portfolio will probably drop by $90,000. In the futures market, I stand to gain $90,000. Now, in the bond hedging example, we went through the case where the modified duration of what I'm actually holding was different than the modified duration of the futures contract. Suppose I hold a portfolio of 30-year zero coupon bonds. This is an extremely volatile portfolio. The modified duration is 27 approximately. Now, in this case, I would not sell $1 million worth of the Treasury bond futures. Suppose I did, and interest rates went up by 1%. Well, I would still benefit $90,000 in the Treasury bond futures. On my actual portfolio, I stand to lose $270,000 because the modified duration is 27. And for a 1% increase in interest rate, I'm going to lose 27% of the value of my portfolio. In this case, what you would do is not to sell $1 million worth of the Treasury bond futures, but you would sell $3 million worth of the Treasury bond futures. So in this case, we sell, the number of contracts is going to be exactly equal to the modified duration of the instruments that I hold, the bonds that I hold, divided by the modified duration of the futures contract. This is the so-called hedge ratio. In this case, it's 3-to-1, which means 3 futures contracts for every bond that I hold in my portfolio. So this is another use of futures markets in terms of interest rate management. There's many other uses that are detailed in the lecture notes, like foreign currency management and controlling other types of risks. But this is the essence of hedging with futures.